Here we go. We'll admit a few more here as we move forward. It's about 11:02, so those that are attending at 11:03, we'll bring them in.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Good morning. We're super excited here this morning to highlight ECX Marketplace platform. Quick housekeeping agenda items. We'll run through a couple introductions to start off. We'll get into a little bit about WideSky, about Interconnects, how the relationship came to be. We'll get into a little bit of a platform review. We will have a section at the end for Q&A, but please utilize the Q&A option at the top of your screen. Ask questions as Tom and the WideSky team are navigating through the platform review. We will get to those questions accordingly. If you forget to utilize that chat option, again, we'll have a section at the end for Q&A.
Fantastic, Jim. Hopefully everybody can hear me, and it's fantastic to have everyone here today. Welcome to the ECX Marketplace. Glad you could join us today. We're going to go right into who's presenting today, myself as well as Jim Hooven from Interconnects.
Yeah, so again, guys, Jim Hooven, Interconnects. I lead our sales and account management team here at Interconnects. We're located in all deregulated markets, so that account management and sales function is within our national group here.
Fantastic. Thomas Bosang, WideSky US Inc. out of Marlborough, Massachusetts. Jim is down in New Jersey, so we're covering this Northeast region here. Let's go into the next slide. I'm going to stop here just for a second because I feel it's important to discuss a little bit about how the ECX Marketplace came to life. How did we come together? We love to tell the story. So in a nutshell, most companies we found before the partnership, as we were talking for probably about a good year and a half, Jim, before we came into partnership, we really discovered that many of the commercial and industrial customers that we both were working with closely did not have the back office to collect complete and accurate energy data from multiple sources for not only procurement, but energy reporting as well. And the process was real fragmented in the US. So it's important to mention that LPA Energy Group and WideSky have been around for about 30 years. And we started in the lighting efficiency and consultation on the engineering side for LED lighting across the globe. And we began to bring in contracts from companies like Nike, Armani, Tiffany's, major global companies. And those companies basically asked us to do more on the energy management side. So born out of that was WideSky about 8 years ago. But getting back to the point, how we actually came together, about 8 years ago, I was working for Agira Energy in New York, and we were selling commodity contracts for gas and electric. Just at that point, 8 or 9 years ago, some of the renewables like pure wind and hydro and other renewable energy sources were just starting to come into the marketplace. But the main crux of the contracting on the wholesale side for commercial and industrial customers was really electric and gas. So as an example, when I began to work for Agira Energy, I was bringing in companies like Johnson Controls, working with their global energy team, helping them with their fixed electric contracts, their index contracts for their commodities. And I ran into a major problem, and it's one that really probably brought me to the forefront of working with WideSky and was a catalyst in looking for the right procurement partner, such as Interconnects. What happened in a nutshell was, I'll use Mint Energy as an example. Mint Energy is a former US electricity supplier, and I had a major US customer that was a developer for commercial and industrial properties with multiple sites, major energy spend, and they were using Mint Energy for electric and gas supply. They were not my customer at the time, but what happened was Mint Energy went into Chapter 11, and the electric and gas accounts for that developer, as it went into Chapter 11, they went back into the default for supply to the utility. in the month of December, which, as some of us know, is one of the most volatile market times to be able to contract for a customer. So as that happened, I had an opportunity to quote them and try to take the business. Um, the net of it was this customer would lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. They would have to absorb that because they were going back to the default of the higher electricity pricing than what they had with the contract with Mint Energy. My entire existence for 2.5 weeks was to pull all the energy data from multiple complex sources because we had no back office at Agira Energy at the time in New York around automation to collect utility data. So I really had quite a problem on my hands. I had to basically pull 1,100 utility bills from a number of different portals, bring them into our pricing team to be able to get a quote out the door to try to get the business. That manual collection was so difficult, and I had to take every single bill and put the necessary information into an Excel spreadsheet so the pricing desk could get the quote out the door. That 2.5 weeks of manual lifting really was a problem because we missed the opportunity. The market changed within that 2-week period. We weren't competitive and we didn't get the deal done. So I was thinking as far back as 8 to 10 years ago, where is this automation around technology in the world of energy that can help customers control the expense? So now with ECX Marketplace, we can do this process in a matter of minutes and collect those 1,100 bills and get them to a pricing desk for a competitive bid. But not only can we get it to them, but we can get it to them with much more complete and accurate data for that type of pricing and reporting. Whereas I was manually taking it from the bill, entering it manually into a spreadsheet. So this automation that you're going to see today can solve that problem among many others. And in a nutshell, we want the audience today to know that the dashboard really streamlines your data collection process and prepares that data for reporting. What does that actually do? It saves you time, money, and the need for expensive resources. So for the first 18 months of working to develop our software and bring it from overseas into the US, we spent 18 months just talking to people. We weren't trying to sell anything. We just wanted to know where the pain points was. Every single time, whether it was a high level conversation with a real estate investment trust company, whether it was a VP of engineering for a manufacturer, whether it was an asset manager, a property manager, whatever it happens to be, a sustainability team, the problem was always trying to get complete and accurate data as a baseline. So that's where we began working our solution as far as the software with WideSky. So we began to look for a partner in that procurement world because I felt that procurement was the entry point for better energy management. And ECX's understanding of the complex energy category, as well as the current demand in the market for starting sustainability initiatives, energy reporting, contracting, made it a great pathway for WideSky's software solution in partnership. So before I go on to the next slide, I want to know if you have any thoughts on that, Jim, because I think the partnership and how it evolved was very important as we did our homework.
Yeah, I think that what worked out perfectly from a timing perspective, right, is we had been hearing from our customers probably for, around the same time frame, right? 5 to 7 years around, we've got these challenges processing our invoices, data's in, disparate places, spreadsheets here, taking individual location spreadsheet data, populating that into a central corporate location, right? Not having any insight into pricing anomalies, struggling with future year budgeting around energy spend. And so we had been spending, the past few years really trying to identify the right partner for us and our customers, that we could connect with our other services that we offer, which, I'll overview here in a second. And, we love the robust platform that WideSky has built, the flexibility, the scalability, the understanding of emissions, and really what's coming down the road from a reporting perspective. So super excited, obviously, to get this out into the market, get this to our customers, and really start to drive, automated value to our customers.
It's a great overview, Jim. Appreciate that. So let's start off here and define ECX Marketplace powered by WideSky. So ECX Marketplace is an intelligent cloud-based utility management solution that empowers your organization with complete visibility into your energy usage. So I want to start off here. We're going to give a little profile real quick here in a half a minute of who LPA Energy and WideSky is, and then I'll turn it over to Jim on the interconnect side. So as our group profile with WideSky, our parent company, LPA Energy Group, it's been around, like I said, for 30 plus years in the industry. Our experience is mostly centered around end-to-end energy design and optimization services for cost savings. The global reach we have, as you can see here, we're active in 90 plus countries and 150 plus experts in lighting technology and engineering. The technology innovation, as far as WideSky, it's our IoT platform for energy management, where we have a real strong focus on sustainability and energy efficiency. So we always like to say smart data, smart insights, smart buildings, smart businesses. As you look here as our global reach here on the LPA Energy Group side, I'm going to click over and you'll see all of our projects in the red there. Around the globe. So, with our offices here in the U.S. for WideSky US Inc., Hartford, Connecticut, New York City, Los Angeles, and growing still. Jim, I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit about the interconnects overview.
Yep. Thanks, Tom. So Interconnects is a leading energy advisory firm focused on procurement, renewables, and sustainability. And I like to sort of look at us driving value for our customers in kind of three different areas internally for us, right? So one is our supplier networks. And the relationships that we build with those suppliers. Number two, our proprietary pricing platform, right? So if you combine sort of those two, our supplier network, those relationships, and our platform, we're building competitive pricing events that drive value for our customers. And then third is our people, is our experience, around the country in all deregulated markets. Our expertise runs deeper than most companies do. And so when you combine the three of those, it positions us really, really well to tailor energy strategies for our customers. And those services that we're offering, surrounding procurement and demand management and energy efficiency and renewables, right? Our expertise is really helping us drive value in each of these areas to our customers. What's exciting now is then adding the analytics and the back-end platform to go along with these services that we've been providing our customers for years at this point.
Fantastic. Great overview, Jim. And likewise, as we're bringing this data in a more simple, concise, and visible view to commercial and industrial customers of all different verticals. I don't think there's a vertical we don't work with. These service offerings here just work hand in hand with the data. So let's define real quick here the marketplace customer value. What we're really doing here is collecting all your baseline data in one central place. And that's where a lot of customers are having problems. They're trying to pull data from complex and non-standard sources and bringing it all into one place, and they're having a very difficult time doing that. One of the reasons they are is because most companies aren't set up on the platform side to have the integration into different enterprise resource planning systems. And that integration into ERP systems is basically why WideSky was architected to be able to do that exact process. And what we're really doing in a nutshell, allowing you to view your utility consumption your spend, and your emissions data across multiple commodities: gas, electric, fuel oils, propane. Another bullet point on customer value is easily understand your effective rate. Customers want to be able to understand, well, what's my rate? I have an anomaly here. Is there something wrong with the contract? Where do I need to be in terms of my budget? Am I exceeding my budget? Am I exceeding my spend? Where am I in trouble? And how can I drill down into the solution that I need to keep us viable on our spend? Easily utilize your data for three main bullet points here. We're going to go into ordinance filing for a moment here on the next slide. But we're seeing the ordinance filing, whether it's Berto in Boston, Buto in Cambridge, Chicago, Midwest, anywhere. These ordinance filings are really starting to grow, where the cities and towns, the major cities and even smaller towns, are putting together these ordinances and mandating that you file your energy data, whether it's water, electric, and especially emissions. So it's presenting a huge problem for the market. There's a big gap on not only just trying to be able to afford to do it and spend that money to avoid paying fines and penalties, but also to make sure your data is complete and accurate is really what a lot of people are struggling with. So on the energy reporting side, we're going to be able to get you all that data so you can do that reporting. We're not going to do the reporting for you, but we're going to have all that data at your fingertips. And that's really going to bring down your cost, because what most of the engineering firms, I'll give you an example, there's 80 companies in the city of Boston and surrounding area that are engineering servicing companies that are doing the reporting. Their heaviest lift is the manual lift to pull that data into a standardized format so they can extract it into the reporting. So this is going to help save them that time and money as well. And as we go forward here and developing what I would call, Jim, a community of resources where we can have these monthly webinars and really help anyone that gets on them, not only with the services we're providing, but other resources that can be valuable to them. And we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of our webinar today. The procurement review side, to be able to extract that data, I gave that example with Mint Energy. It's paramount that you have that data at your fingertips. One of the biggest challenges when you're trying to do a new procurement contract for any commodity, or maybe anything in general, is how can I get my hands on all the data I need to be able to do that procurement? So we know, and I'm sure the people on the call today in the audience know, your bills are all over the place in most companies. The contracts are hard to find because they're buried somewhere. And if someone's holding on to those contracts and they leave the company, well, how are you going to get those contracts back? So having them all in this central platform can really allow you to be more efficient no matter who comes in to manage the energy for your company. So in a nutshell, we save time, we save money, and we improve energy efficiency. Here's just a quick example of the ordinance and energy reporting requirements that are growing in the United States right now. You can see all these major cities are just really the beginning. In a year from now, we expect this to be even more saturated. Are there any questions on reporting as far as the emissions or energy reporting at this point? Otherwise, I'll just move on. Jim, any comments on this?
No, I think we're good to move on.
Okay, so we're going to introduce the actual demonstration here: utility reporting, commodity spend management, and emissions reporting. What I want to do is here, I just want to go in real quickly here to the manual data collection and how we make it work for customers. By giving customers access to the reports that they require, either on the dashboard or directly into your email inbox, is what we do. So ECX Marketplace is really a managed service where we're taking away that data collection and manual entry piece for you, as we've mentioned. The problem we solve here is the pain point of not having the back office, which we discussed. So as most companies struggle with that energy data and trying to get that hands on that data, they don't understand the most efficient way to collect the data from all those complex and non-standard formats and bring it into a simple view and actually do something with it in a cost-effective way. So as you look at our streamlining efficiencies here, we have a platform setup process and we have ongoing platform services. So when we go into the platform setup, we're really looking at site and account data. That's how we begin. We grab that master site list from customers. We begin to pull in the account data. We found that most companies don't have a very good master site list, and you can take some of the most successful major real estate investment trust companies or manufacturers or industrial companies throughout the US and throughout the globe for that point, and their site data is incomplete. Some of them don't even know where their sites are, and they don't have information that can correspond to each site. So there's a real gap there, and we spend the time to help you put that site data together and make sure it's complete and accurate. As far as the accounts payable data, we're ingesting standard accounts payable data. We're including those general ledger and cost codes to support financial report generation. We're ingesting actual site floor area and site grouping information. And that's going to be interesting as we go through our slides here to be able to show you how you can filter different trading brands, different building types, so you can get the information quickly out of the dashboard. Vendor portal access, email invoice stream. We wanted to mention how we actually collect the data. So one of the primary sources is the letter of authorization that we get signed from our clients that allows us to go to the utilities and those source data companies to be able to pull that on behalf of that letter of authorization. Once we're into the portals of different utilities and companies, the next step is really to have a dedicated email inbox that allows the flow of that invoice stream and data to come monthly into WideSky so we can populate it into the dashboard. So for example, if let's just say it's XYZ company, we have an email dedicated inbox that allows us to tag along with the accounts payable emails that come directly from the utilities with the invoice copy each month for each commodity. We'll call that xyz.billreader@widesky.com. So as we set those up with the utilities, we're working hard to make sure that comes in monthly right to our dedicated email inbox. And like I said, many times we tag along with the AP that's already defined within those automatic invoice retrievals from the utilities. For ongoing platform services, the invoice collection and digitization, those vendor portals are probably the heaviest lift as we onboard and continue to go through the platform services and onboard your data on a daily basis. Invoice validation is probably one of the most important aspects of what we're doing. We make sure that we find all missing data, and that those bill gaps and missing data usually are the biggest headache. We solve that problem through a very strategic and organized validation layer process, which we can go into with individual customers when we go into a deeper dive. Data ingestion and quality checks, really important. That consolidation and visualization to make sure the quality of data is there is a huge process behind what we do. Missing invoice management is probably one of the biggest pain points that we solve. Tracking and managing that missing invoice. We'll show you that in the dashboard and how we do that. And of course, report generation, monthly reports configured to our clients' requirements during platform setup and pushed to subscriber emails. So once you're in the dashboard and you're set up through ECX Marketplace, you'll be given credentials for your team members to be able to get into the dashboard. Any other questions yet? here going forward? No, we'll go right into the
Tom,
actual.
can you jump back to that real quick? I just want to make a point I think is important here, right? So from the ongoing platform services, right, pretty much everything you listed there, and talk through, right? This is something that internal personnel are spending hours and hours on each month, right? Taking the invoice data, manually adding that data, into internal systems or internal databases. So it really automates that process, and in my mind allows those internal folks to repurpose those hours into more monitoring and identifying areas where they could potentially be more efficient, and finding those anomalies instead of spending, that time on more of the data inputting, right? We're taking that piece out of it.
Absolutely. Great mention there, Jim. Appreciate it. Move on. Now let's get into the dashboard itself. We're going to show a few slides here and then go into the actual dashboard on a live basis, but we want to start here by allowing you to focus on the different areas within the landing pages. So on this page, this is called the bills page. And this page provides a comprehensive and structured view of all invoice data across all your utilities. This is really centralized for easy access for different teams and different users. The filtering option view is probably one of the most important aspects of the dashboard itself, because it really enables users to focus on the information that's important to them. You can either filter by individual site, by state, by region, by asset type, and of course by vendor, which is really important on the supply side. One of the additions to the filtering that I like a lot is the time range. So you're able to, over here, you can see, you can basically go and set your different time range, whether it's a day, a week, a month, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is you want for that time range is really important. So you can extract that report and share with stakeholders based on that time frame that you enter. So supporting efficient report generation for use by accounting and sustainability teams for financial and compliance reporting is really what we're doing here. This page here really just gives you the snapshot of what it's like to be able to drill down and get a report. Data from the panels as we go into the live demo will show you that you can export anything by downloading it via the CSV button here to be able to generate a report. So if you're looking for a report on, let's say I had those 1,100 bills that Mint Energy was going to default, and I could basically download those and pull those into a file and send those within minutes. There's many different use cases to be able to download the CSV for what you need. You might be doing budgeting, you might be doing reporting, you might be looking at it by region, by state, and you're able to get that data right over to the stakeholders that need it. This dashboard page here is the meter page, and it's invoice data that provides transparency and traceability, really. It shows detailed view of the bill data availability, highlights gaps if they're present, and it maintains auditable records that relate to the site meter, including multiple changes in utility vendor. And one thing we found really working well for our customers, not just in the US, but globally, is the ability to have an audit come right out of the dashboard. The auditability that it can provide is really important to back up the data and the claim that you're making. So for example, if you're a company in the US that's heavily into renewable energy and you want to be 100% renewable, and you want to go into the marketplace to talk about you're being responsible, you have sustainable products, your investors are looking at your ESG scores, you're trying to boost them with renewable energy. One of the most important things is companies like KPMG, many other companies will come in and they're going to audit your information. So having everything in one central platform for auditability We found that our customers love that. They don't have to search in a number of different portals and platforms to get that information. Everything's in the central platform for auditability, and that's a real key use factor. Next page here is, and you'll see this in the live dashboard, this is a consolidated view of all your invoice data at an account level. It can alert you to accounts that have overdue amounts to ensure invoices are paid on time. It offers visibility into your invoice effective rate to enable you to identify cost outliers. I happen to like this one a lot here because it lists all the accounts per vendor. And you can drill down and see where you are in terms of your effective rates. You can look at different outliers, and we'll show this live in the dashboard. The overdue details and the overdue bills are really important. And I'm going to show you some functionality, how you can share that very quickly and all that account data. So let's get ready to go into that. One more page here. This is the sites dashboard page, and you can see up here sites. What's important here is in this dashboard, we wanted to be able to give customers of all sizes, of all verticals, a view of their cost, their consumption, and their emissions for their entire portfolio in less than 5 minutes. You can imagine the heavy lift it is to pull all kinds of data together and be able to get that done. It's next to impossible to get it done in less than 5 minutes, but we've configured that over the past couple of years and built that out within the dashboard. So this will give you a portfolio view and a consolidated view and a comprehensive snapshot. And I'm going to show you how to share that when we get into the live dashboard. So you can get an immediate overview of the portfolio spend and usage and the averages. You can rank the performance of your sites. And of course, you can track trends and changes. And that's very, very important with sustainability teams and what they're trying to do today. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a second, and then I'm going to bring up the actual live dashboard. Any comments, Jim? Anybody else in the, you can feel free to go through the Q&A, and we'll be happy to help you answer any questions there.
Yeah, Tom, a question I had that I was going to wait, but I guess you can probably go through it once you get in here, right? You were just on the sites page, right? There's probably companies are going to want different access, right? For somebody who is responsible for an individual site versus somebody that's at corporate, right? That's probably going to look like two different, types of access and what they're able to view and see, right? So the platform will allow an individual user to just see one site or an individual user to see all of the sites. Correct?
That's correct. Yep,
Yeah.
That's correct, Jim. So let's go into the live dashboard here, and we'll take a look at a few of the things that we're doing from a macro standpoint before you can drill down. In this specific instance here, we've got a sites page, and what we're going to go into here is we have sites and we have service accounts. Service accounts are just your utility bills. What's really important here are the inactive accounts. Many companies don't keep track of the inactive, and it has a impact on your forward budgeting. So we make sure we have all that data in there. And you can see here within the platform, there's ways that you can share the data at the click of a button. So for example, here, if I'm looking at a specific number of sites and I want to share that data, it's quite easy to copy, paste, and send that right via an email, and you'll get the screen with all the information. One of my favorite filters here is looking at a drop down. So for example, let's say you were a company called Inspire Brands, and you had Dunkin' Donuts and you had Chick-fil-A as part of your portfolio. You're going to be able to separate those and drill down into the energy spend and the consumption and the emissions by doing that. In this site example here, we're just going to put corporate in, and you're going to see how this will go into 4 corporate accounts and drill down into those different accounts and what's happening within them. Let's go over to another page here. I want to go into the bills tab. That's what I want to go into. So we're going to go into bill availability. And we talked a lot about that, how you can see all your bills. So this can replace your multiple spreadsheets with more clear and accurate data that's complete. This is all your invoice and bill data across your entire portfolio. So this provides a central view to make it really easy for you to generate a report. If you want to generate a report anywhere in these panels and any of these dashboard pages, you can. So right here, we'll go to the top. We've got 131 total bills, 123 are active, 8 are inactive, but these 8 are important for forward budgeting. And when you go down here, we've got 11 pages here of bills all within this panel. So you can import this information into existing business systems. You can click and download a CSV version of that. You can share that with your energy team, your sustainability team, your property managers, asset managers, your data analysts, whoever you want to share that with. And what we're finding now is one of the largest use cases in being able to get this energy data to the right stakeholders is tenants now in buildings are asking for their own energy data for their own reporting. So this makes it very simple for you to be able to do. So we can drill down, for example, look at all this data and be able to download it into a CSV and send that. Let's go one more page and then we've got about 5 minutes left here, so things are moving on quickly. I want to go into the accounts page here.
And Tom, we did have a question come through of how far back in historical data do you recommend companies add to the platform?
It's a fantastic question. Right now, the standard that companies are coming on board and signing up with us is 12 months of historical data. We've recently had a manufacturer that wanted 36 months of data. Some companies want 60 months. So it just depends. But for comparison reasons, we're finding that the highest majority of our customer base starts with 12 months of historical data.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, on the accounts page here, I think we might have gone through some of the overdue details and the severity of that. We've gone through a little bit of the account per vendor, but there was one other feature that I wanted to show. And the energy use intensity is going to be a really important factor here as we wrap up the dashboard. The energy use intensity per square foot, the emissions per square foot. We're working with large leasing companies. When they have prospective tenants that want to come in and lease part of a building, they're getting very smart on the questions they're asking. So they're looking for energy use intensity per square foot, emissions per square foot before they rent part of that building. So we're going to be able to give those leasing companies that information very, very quickly. And if you look here, the ability to toggle the highest to lowest in descending order on what you're spending per day or what your spend is per square foot, your emissions per square foot. Those are all really important factors that are built in here. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second because it's very important to leave the audience with the impression that this is not an off-the-shelf product where we're just going to give it to you and you're going to figure it out on your own. You have a dedicated account manager. And one of the brightest in the business I really see from my years of traveling is Kerry Augusta on the US side here for customer success and delivery manager. Kerry's worked at Appfolio, Measurable, RegoWise, and Kerry, happy to turn it over to you if you want to share anything that's on your mind, as well as you are going to be helping customers with their managed service portion of the business.
Well, I think just to wrap it all up, historically, all different types of companies have had trouble measuring their emissions and their different utilities and being able to plan for future years with that type of data. And Wide Sky makes it easy to be able to access all of this data in one place and be able to share it out with different stakeholders. I did see that there's one other question that came in, which is for the emissions, does it take into consideration the electric supplier and their percentage of electricity generated by renewables?
Absolutely. It's a great question. And we have a large banking client right now in the US where the regulated and deregulated states that they work within, some of the regulated states, I'll take Green Mountain Power, for example, in Vermont, as they're claiming the renewable energy as part of their fuel mix and fuel source, it can be used for your reporting. Oftentimes it cannot. So we basically work to make sure on that renewable end, not only are we following what your 100% renewable goal is versus what the consumption is throughout the year. We're helping you with quarterly information that will show you how you're trending and tracking towards your 100% renewable goal. But you have to be careful with the utilities, and they're part of the fuel mix claiming that they're renewable. Sometimes you cannot use that, and that's another, I guess I would call it another solution where our partners are helping. So hopefully that answers that question. If there's any more follow-up, just let me know. But that's a tricky road there. You have to be careful to make sure it can be auditable for a true renewable credit. But I just want to mention that with it, the last couple of questions about emissions, for example, the city of Cambridge has a path to zero emissions. And there's an interesting statistic there. There's 64 properties in the recent Budo inventory that have a laboratory listed as the primary use of space. And those 64 buildings are 6% of the total quantity of buildings in the city of Cambridge. That's pretty small, only 6%. Yet it contributes to over 30% of the emissions. So you can set up filters to quickly show how lab and office space is contributing to your emissions in your portfolio. You can display it in a simple view as we showed here, versus trying to get the data from the spreadsheet and look at it in a spreadsheet. Extract those reports right out of the dashboard and share it to stakeholders. So the case in point is, we're finding customers are asking us, where do you think I might be in trouble if I don't focus here on emissions, and how do I do it? And where are we today? Where do we stand? So those are kind of some of the things that we help customers with through our partner network as well. And I'd like to just mention here as we're wrapping up, for future webinars, we've got a couple of different topics here: budgeting and forecasting, metering, EPA's portfolio manager, tenant billing, which is a big gap. So there'll be future announcements here on the webinars. And I'm going to share my page one time more here because I want to look at the QR code that we have here. Would love to hear from anybody that wants to follow up and a deeper dive into the demo. So let me share.
There's also one more question that came through. I work a lot with Birdo in third-party verification. Do you think in the future ordinances like Birdo will accept this like they do with Energy Star Portfolio Manager? And I'll actually take this one. So one thing with Wide Sky that's really helpful is that you're able to download all of the data that we store on the dashboard. So you can actually, manipulate this data to put it in the correct formatting for Energy Star Portfolio Manager. I see that you've worked with Birdo, so you are more familiar. You can actually just download the data from our site and re-upload it to Energy Star. For now, that's our roadmap. We're still looking into other solutions, but it is a good way for you to be able to gather all of that data, have it in one place, and still be able to download it and put it right into Energy Star. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really glad you covered that because it's one of the things at the forefront of what we're doing here and helping customers with. And I'd love to have a future webinar just on that fact alone, Carrie. So Jim, Aaron, would be great to be able to roll that out as soon as possible. It certainly is on people's minds.
Yeah, definitely. We'll share dates of upcoming webinars, pretty soon here. Again, we're over time here by a couple minutes. Carrie, Tom, thank you guys so much for walking us through the platform. Everybody else, thanks for carving 45 minutes out of your day today. I know that's not always an easy thing to do, so we greatly appreciate it. As you see here, there's a QR code. If anybody wants any follow up, certainly would love to get through the platform and what that means for you and understand how your business is processing invoice data today. We'll share this deck with everybody that joined today, so you can certainly scan the QR code once we share the deck with everybody. But thanks again, everybody, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate